Set in the region of Straya, players will experience the unique land of Down Under. I do call myself the shiny hunter from Down Under, so this is perfect. This thread will have art for Pokemon, yeah, and nah. This is what it looks like to start with, which looks incredible. And as an Australian, I feel like I can give a bit more insight into some of this because the lands, the Pokemon names have a lot of aspects that maybe if you're not from Australia, you wouldn't understand. So I wanted to give you that and go through this because you may have seen it before, but that was just recently updated with the full complete Pokedex. So make sure you hang around to the end of the video to see all of the recent updates. And just so you know, there is a lot of information in this video, so feel free to pause it whenever you need to catch up on something. I didn't want to make a 45-minute long video. Welcome, this is the Straya region. Straya, a vast sunburned country with an Arctic baseline. Players can choose their starting town, which I think is very cool. Looks like there's 4 towns that you can choose where to start from. Now, straight away, I noticed that the land is shaped like Australia, which is perfect. Even got Tasmania down here. And we can see we've got little New Zealand over to the side as well. But I would choose close to where I live personally, so I would choose Boonborn City, like Melbourne. Introducing Bruce, Bazza, and Sheila Shazza. Perfect names, 100% Australian. Very, very cool. I already love their outfits. And you know what? I always try to make the characters look like me. It's got like a dark blonde hair and blue eyes. Perfect. So we've got Skippy, like a kangaroo-based Pokemon, and it looks like his tail is like a boomerang. Wallaboom, which I think is one of the best middle evolutions I've ever seen. Middle evolutions generally aren't the best, but Wallaboom looks really cool. So that's combining Wallaby and Boomerang, and we can see it evolves into Kangarang, Kangaroo, and the rest of Boomerang. You can see it evolves into a grass fighting type. The next starter, meet Scorch, the also very real red-bellied black snake. You can't have an Australian Pokemon without snake-based Pokemon, so that makes a lot of sense. And it evolves into a fire poison type, Venolistic. Very, very cool. That looks crazy, actually. I really like that. A lot more than I like Scorch. Scorch is okay. This his sleep is a sleepy one. It's even got a nightcap. And Platyl, the too good to be real platypus Pokemon. We finally have a platypus Pokemon in Pokemon, if this was real. They can be found saving tourists from beaches and reminding people to slip, slop, slap. Is slip, slop, slap like a global thing? I know. It's very common in Australia. It means put on your sunscreen and protect yourself from the sun. Sun is very dangerous in Australia. Platyl Bogano, like Bogan. I love it. Bondiva, very cool as well. I do like that as well. That's really, really nice. Just stays as a water type, whereas the other two have a dual typing. I think out of the starters, Skippy's my favorite, but out of the final evolutions, I think Venolistic is my favorite. Now for the Pokemon of the Straya region, here's the Bin Chicken Ibon, obviously based off an ibis, but it's not all it seems. This thing evolves into a 2-meter tall nightmare called Huntsmare. You have to have snakes, you have to have spiders in the Australian region as well. I wouldn't be surprised if every second Pokemon is a spider. Makes sense in Australia. Interesting concept that you've got an ibis going into a big huntsman. Very different animals, but okay. Gallipoli, not everything is out to get you in Pokemon. Yeah, nah, meet Gallipoli, the Nurse Joy's companion. Okay, that's kind of cool. We've got, you know, our Chances and our Ardinos. Now we have our Gallipoli. So this is based off Gallipoli, where the Anzacs fought, Anzacs being Australian war veterans in World War I. They fought in Gallipoli in Turkey, so that's what it's based off. And it's like a donkey, which makes sense as well. Very useful in the war. Okay, some more Pokemon got a poison dark type now, which is really cool. Igupup, like an iguana, I guess. Glowana, like a goanna. Glowonita, like a monitor lizard, I'm assuming. The colors on this are crazy. That is so cool. I love it's a dark type, but it's got like fluoro colors. And looking at Glowonita, its tail's cut off, which is very interesting because lizard tails grow back. So that's really cool. Poppia, Memlora, and Eternance. That's really cool. These are based off the poppies, which are again in World War I. The Anzacs, very, very popular, very well known on Anzac Day here in Australia. We've got a poppy, the flower. This is a grass ghost type, which is very interesting. Having the ghost type with the tie to Anzacs and the war makes a lot of sense here, and very solemn looking Pokemon. And then we have our Drop Bear. I love it. Based off a very real, a very scary animal in Australia, the Drop Bear, of course. We've got to have some more spider Pokemon. We've got Git, Bugrowth, and Morteam. Morteam, I'm assuming, is based on Mortine, a bug spray here in Australia. Mortine. So that's very cool. It's a bug and flying type. That's like a whole combination of bugs. It's not just spiders, actually. It's like, looks like spiders and cockroaches and all kinds of things all in one. Yowies are both terrifying outback monsters, but they also sweet chocolates with hidden surprises in them. Yowies are kind of like Kinder Surprises, if you know what they are, in Australia, where you've got a chocolate, but on the inside there's like a little toy. But a Yowie is based off an Australian mythical creature that's in like swamps and stuff. Monster? Like a monster? Okay, that makes sense. Chowie like Yowie, Yowinja again like Yowie. Very, very cool. Yowie's kind of like a bunyip as well, if you've heard of a bunyip before. Mythical monster. No, it wouldn't be Australia without putting a shrimp on the barbie.
Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
We've got Drip, which looks kind of sad. I think it's the big eyes. Evolving into Crustique? Crustique? That's very cool, obviously based off crustacean and shrimp. The 15th of November is Steve Irwin Day. Of course, we have to have Steve Irwin.
Have a go at this whopper.
So this looks really cool, Steve Irwin. We've got our starters, but these almost looks like Crocodile and Crocorock and Sandile, but maybe an Australian version. Meet Gomp and its evolutions. They're absolute units. That's very cool. This is the one we saw in the Steve Irwin one, actually, Gomp. And it's a dragon type. And then dragon fighting. Yo, that's really cool. This looks sick. I love Crocarnage. The name and the Pokemon look really cool. The Australian region of Sandile, there it is. Sandile open most when laying around in the outback and creates small flames. Looks sort of like a lighter. It does look like a lighter. That's kind of cool. So we've got our Sandile, Crocorock, and Crocodile, but they're the Australian versions, which is very cool. I was like fire breathing. Kira is inspired by quolls, which are very, very cute. They're spots resembling constellations. Kira, Yumeri, and Kuyoru. This must be the Pika clone, maybe? We've got Electric Fairy for all types. These look sick. This almost reminds me of like the Solgaleo aspects of it. Like, looks like the night sky. Very, very cool and very cute. I love that a lot, actually. That has to be the Pika clone. The Australian Venipede travel through tunnels they have dug in the volcanic island by the coast of Wagiant City. Scolipede travel at full speeds by blasting flames from behind them and using their armored plates similar to wheels. So this is kind of like a metallic version of the Venipede line, which is very cool. They are all fire steel type, which looks really cool. I love like the exhaust and the fire coming off here. Australian Doduo now lost to water their emu rivals. If you didn't know, Australians did lose the Great Emu War. Humans literally lost to emus and the emus kept the land that they were on. So it's based off that, which is kind of cool. Australian Doduo lost to water the emu rivals and were banished to the snowy mountains. The third head of Dodrio is fake. Sometimes the beak will fall off during battle, which the Dodrio will scramble to put back on. That is very cool. I love the story behind the Dodrio. Yo, this Sableye looks crazy cool. I love this. During the gold rush in Australia, the gold rush is very, very big in Australia. Lots of people from all over the world flock to Australia. That is so cool. It looks a lot bigger than a Sableye too. A quick reminder that if you're enjoying the video, to make sure to subscribe for more content just like this, but also to check out today's sponsor, which is ExpressVPN. Now, personally, I've used ExpressVPN for over a year and I love what they do. A VPN, or virtual private network, allows you to have complete privacy over your personal information on your computer, TV, phone, or tablet. As well as privacy, I use ExpressVPN to make sure I can access region-locked content, because here in Australia, sometimes we don't get access to as many things on YouTube, and definitely not on Netflix. There are heaps of countries to choose from, and it's very easy and very quick to connect to any of them. I simply click connect, and then boom, it's done just like that. And what is awesome is that ExpressVPN uses only the fastest premium servers to make sure that you get the fastest connection possible. And that's why it's been voted #1 by many of the top tech websites. So click the link down in the description to use my link and get 3 months free on ExpressVPN. Okay, back to the Pokemon. And of course, we have to give a massive shout out to VivinkArt, who created all of this. So check them out on Twitter. Righto, who doesn't love a good game of cricket? Of course, cricket, very, very big in Australia. Ricket hit M-ball around their bat-shaped abdomen as if it was some form of cricket match. So M-ball, Ricket, and then it evolves into Ashicket. Very, very cool, and they do look like cricket stumps, actually, and we've got our ball. Whale watching is pretty big on Australian coast, very true, but in the Australia region, airaloon watching is done in high altitudes in hot air balloons. That's kind of cool. So we've got Whaley, almost like Wailord, but up in the air, obviously. Blimeri, like a blimp, probably. And Airaloon, that looks sick. A whale Pokemon. I love the rainbow colors on this as well. I love the little cloud that's blowing out through the blowhole too. This is 2022. 3 years later, or 2.5 years later, the entire Pokedex is complete. All right, let's have a quick look at this. So a lot of these Pokemon we've seen already. Let me see. Oh, we haven't seen this yet. Scampik and Brushtail. They're based off possums, like a Brushtail possum. Very, very cool. Scree, Swagora, and Bravafia are very cool as well. Bravafia looks like a Mafia Pokemon, but it looks like a magpie. Scree actually kind of looks like a bit like a Rookidee, but with a second head on it. Interesting. Kerp is a new one, and Foultree and Kookatrice. Very cool. Definitely look like a chicken, but then evolves almost like that mid-evolved form between like when birds became dinosaurs and raptors. Kookatrice looks like in between of that, which is very cool. Echidling is a new one based off an Echidna, which is very cool, but very little and very cute. It looks like it's got crops as it spikes, which is nice. Oh, it looks like it evolves into Ouchidna. Ouch, that's perfect. Echidnas, if you don't know, are kind of like porcupines. Lamini, and Dunoid. That's kind of cool. All right, all right. That almost looks like, what are they called? Snowballs? Snowballs aren't an Australian thing, right? Where it's like marshmallow surrounded by chocolate with coconut on top. Buggle and Grandpipes look like seagulls, maybe? Big seagulls, very cool. Floricaete Roselia, very cool as well. Definitely based off parakeets and rosellas, Australian birds. Rosellas are amazing. They're beautiful rainbow color. Here we've got our Kamala, and it evolves into Comfala. Amu and Artilamu. That's cool. They look like army base. That's very cool. Looks like they've got a helmet and armor. And that's like a tank. That's really cool. We've got Tripknot and Pummeleg. Based off spiders again. Very cool. Blitzshock and Hulzbst. How do you even say that? Hulzbst? I'm not sure what they are, but they're kind of cool too. Freshays. Don't tell me that's based off Eshays. Oh, no way. Freshays and Stabatu. This would have to be a cockatoo, but it looks like it's lost some of its feathers. I'm not sure. Thornal looks like it's based off a thorny devil. Lizard and Devak and Falsridus. That's kind of cool too, actually. I'm assuming they evolve. Flawn and Pyrolene are very nice. They look like deers evolving. We've got fire types here. Clolly, Herdingo, and Disguided are kind of interesting. Looks like a dingo Pokemon here with the name Herdingo. So that's very nice. And looks like we've got some sheep. Disguided is kind of a cool name, like Disguise. Oh, we've got Timpole, Palpitoad, and Seismitoad, but obviously a regional variant. Maybe ground type or rock type? Sufi and Aquarel and Sunacia? Maybe? Kind of looks like a dolphin, I would say. Jaw Cycle and Greiska? Those look like piranhas, which are not native to Australia, but maybe they're sharks, actually. There's lots of sharks in Australia. And it evolves into Predaton. All right, that makes sense. This one definitely looks like a shark over here. And, oh, Tasmal and Tasmez, they definitely have to be based off a Tassie Devil. So they look very cool. I love Tasmanus. That looks scary. And right, oh, we got our Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan already an Australian Pokemon, but now we've got a regional version of Kangaskhan, which is really interesting. It's got boxing gloves, which is really cool. Quackaboom. Oh, quackers are so cute. So that's really cool. Almost kind of reminds me of a Dedenne. Tumbella and Tangler and Tangreed. Okay, that's kind of interesting. That almost looks like a Mr. Men book. A Mr. Men book Australian? I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know if that's Australian or not, but it looks like a Mr. Men. And then we've got Tumbella and Tangreed as well, which is very nice. Tooth Pixie? What does that mean? A toothpick? A tooth fairy? I'm not sure. Tooth Pixie. Corray and Milorial look like rays of some kind, which is cool. Nettle, Bandettle, and Mort Ranger. Ooh. Oh, I know what they are. They're based off Ned Kelly. That's the Ned Kelly helmet. Bush Ranger. Yeah, okay, that's what it was. And he was a bandit. All right, it all just came together for me there. Minor? Okay, that's kind of cool. Excalibur and Dynamite. Maybe referencing the Australian mines, which is pretty cool. And we've got Dinopal as well. Yeah, Opal, definitely. And Dino What? They both look like single Pokemon. Opposites, Dinopal and Dino What? Wheelin and Donut? Is that based off a wheelie bin? Surely not. Oh my god, we've got Trubbish, so it makes sense to have a wheelie bin. Furiage looks pretty cool though. That has to be off Mad Max Fury Road. Vermit and Termount. That would have to be based on the giant termite mounds that can be found in Australian deserts. We've got our own Delibird. That's cool. It almost looks like it has a surfboard. Maybe, and he's got a drink as well. I love it. This is very Australian. We've got Vanillite now. That's cool. Vanillish and Vanilla Witch. It's like an ice cream sandwich. That's kind of cool, actually. I wonder if they're based off Golden Gate Time ice creams. The inside looks like a Golden Gate Time. Farlabs. Okay, this is a very specific Australian reference. Farlap was a very, very famous horse that raced in the Melbourne Cup many, many years ago. Probably Australia's #1 horse. Caramare and Brumbuck as well for our wild horses. That's kind of cool. Enonome and Anglo. These would have to be aquatic in some way and goes into Spectaria. Almost looks like coral. Tuxedo and Buzzler are very cool as well. Based off probably a mosquito, I would say. Fragils and Bannerbat. Oh, they must be based off fruit bats, especially Bannerbat. That is very cute. And they both look very fruity as well. Biocub and Bengal. Okay, I wouldn't say that's specifically Australian. It almost looks Egyptian in a way, actually. And Manthera as well looks very cool. I'm assuming these three will go together. They kind of look the same. Snowin and Snowan. That's kind of cool. I like Snowin. That's very, very cute. We've got our Mimikyu as well. Our own Mimikyu. That looks really cool. I don't mind that. Oh, Trapinch, Vibrava, and Flygon are very different now. That's kind of cool, giving a bit of a different twist to it. Wotzel and Waterfluff. They're kind of cool. Almost reminds me of Cherim in a way. But we've got Wotzels, very famous famous Australian flower. We've got our Kookaburra Pokemon, Cacklebura and Kookabunda. Both of those are very cool. I'm loving the names of these. Igest and Luminic? I'm not sure that. It sounds like to do with humor in a way. Jesting? Yeah, that's Luna Park. That's based off Luna Park, the theme park. That is kind of cool, actually. Bleck and Gatero and Dracolodia? That's interesting, too. It looks like there would be dragon Pokemon, I would say. Oh, Mamilda must be something different. That's kind of cool, actually. That looked very cute. I love the big eyes on it. Fungus and Amoongus. We've got our Australian versions of them with the sparkles. Very nice. A Lignetic and Multican. Okay. It almost looks like steel crocodile. I'm not sure, but it evolves into a dragon of some kind. Messenger and Sengula. That's kind of cool too. Are they meant to be like jellyfish maybe? Cavane and Tonfrit. But they look kind of cool too. Don't mind them. Meowth and Persian are very different. What happened to that Meowth? That Meowth has gone crazy. That's completely different. Persian looks kind of cool though. Dreepy and Dracloak and Dragapult have definitely changed. Their heads kind of like the boomerang color, which is interesting there. Maybe have some Aboriginal influences, which is kind of cool. Now what? Porygon, Porygon 2, and Porygon Z. Big references here, especially Porygon 2 with Wi-Fi, which was actually invented in Australia. It makes sense to have a regional version or something with Porygon 2 with Wi-Fi. That's kind of cool. Oh, we've got some new evolutions. I love it. Champion and Draconian. That looks very cool as well. I love both of those. It looks like Champion has maybe boxing gloves on it, which is very nice. Oh, these just have question marks on them. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have question marks. They're kind of the same, but in different ways. I wonder if they're fossil. They almost look like you would combine them together. Actually, looking at this one here, beyond these two, this one here looks like if you combined all of them together, you make the Sydney Opera House. That's interesting. I wonder what that would be. But we've got these two here. Wisby looks very small and not like a legendary, but Quarzuroma definitely looks like a legendary. This was like a serpent of some kind. Maybe it's the Aboriginal mythical beast serpent. Oh, these must be the two legendaries. Not sure about this one though. Oh my god, that was huge. I can't believe how much detail went into that, and I can't believe how many years it scaled over from 2019 to 2022. I hope you love this, guys. If you did, make sure you chuck a like and subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon stuff. Thanks.